Hello, my Teaserking family. Welcome to another class, this one of week 4 of the NFL. So yesterday we do focus on college. Today we focus on the pros. We'll look ahead to week 5. Thursday we'll do your college analysis for this week. Friday is the pro analysis. And then Saturday, Sunday we look at changes and lines and movements and injuries that are there. So, week 4, we start off with the over in the Cincy-Miami game. Basically, I'm feeling Burrows is starting to play, which he is, and they're starting to look like an A team, Cincinnati, the playoff team, with confidence. Their defense is much better as they've added a lot of defensive players. Pardon me. I have this plug nose draining. That's why I'm coughing. So we took Cincinnati over. Tagovailoa gets rushed. Apparently already had a concussion. I love how they fire the doctor like the coach doesn't know that he's got a concussion. Really? Coach should be fired. If the doctor's not going to the coach, there's a problem. The coach runs the team. It's like in baseball with the Houston Astros. The manager knew they were stealing signs. My problem is there's nothing signs. I played. You do it all the time. You're at second base. You're looking at what the catcher's flipping down. How is that any different? So, but the manager's the one in charge. He knows, like he doesn't know, oh, we're hitting garbage cans and like here. The coach has to know that he's got a concussion, shouldn't be playing. And he's not that good. And their backup, I want to say Dalton, but that's not it. Their bad Bridgewater was fine. I mean, you're going to win more with Bridgewater anyway. So, anyway, so we have the over 41. We get it at the end. They go to 42. A win's a win. Minnesota, New Orleans played in London. Now, what I find interesting is there's no bye. So they both now play this week. So Minnesota's at home against Chicago, and New Orleans, where's New Orleans? New Orleans is home for Seattle. So on one hand, they're giving them the break, no bye, but we'll give you home games. But they're so screwed up. Sports are like, you get into a rhythm. Like me, I get into a rhythm picking games. And when you stop the rhythm, so they had to go to London, so they had to leave early, practice there, live there, have a long flight home. I mean, it's 7-8 hours and time change and everything else. That's the other thing, the time change, so you got to get used to that. Now they're back in Minnesota and New Orleans without a bye. I wouldn't be betting them this week. I don't think. Pardon me. It acts up sometimes. So didn't play that game. Excuse me. Minnesota, Kirk Cousins, he's terrible. Throws too many interceptions. He's good and he's bad. This week he hits Jefferson. They were down to the Lions. See, this is the thing. Seattle comes and puts up 48 on the Lions. Minnesota at home really put up 20 and then scored at 21 and scored in the last play of the game to win 28-24. And you're just looking at it like, really? That kind of gives you a better understanding that they're not with Jefferson and Thielen. They should be much better. And Cook, lousy quarterback, and Cousins throws too many picks, doesn't throw to the right person enough, and then too many interceptions. But he's just they don't know how to play call there because they should have put up 40 on the Lions if Seattle does. So Seattle knew how to read them, but Minnesota doesn't. And that's the little details. Cleveland, Atlanta. Atlanta gets the win 23-20. I have the game over 47.5, so over 41. It's a W. Why? Well, when I look at the teams, Cleveland and Atlanta are over teams. They have over defenses. What does that mean? Well, they both score a lot and give up a lot. So that's what I'm looking for in an over game. And as bad as their defense is and as good as their offense is, they still only got 43 points covering the 41. Again, this is why we do teasers. It turns losers into winners. So 41. And, I don't know if that was an easy win, but it got there. It should have been a higher game. But okay, what I'm noticing is that there's a lot of injuries. So the defenses are wearing out because they're all without preseason and with the bye, they are not in shape. And the offenses are now starting to get in timing down. What's the biggest thing I talk about? Like when Peyton Manning would get the bye because they'd be 13-0 and they'd rest the last 2 weeks and then have a bye and then they lose the first round of the playoffs because their timing was off. You cannot practice timing. It's got to be game because it's faster. So what happens is you got all these offenses that were out of timing week 1, out of timing week 2. Now by week 4, you're noticing Burrow's more in time. Atlanta, they're getting used to the new quarterback now. Although I don't understand the 23 points because when I watched the game, Mariota stinks. He was 7 of 15 for 100 yards. I'm like, where do you get 23 points? Well, he's running for some yards, of course, and that's about it. So he doesn't really throw. And then Cordell Patterson runs a lot. Now, he's injured next week. We're going to get to that when we get to this week's games. So Cordell Patterson's trying to be like Deebo Samuel in San Francisco. Oh, we got this strong wide receiver. We're going to run him. And that's what Atlanta's been doing. And that's how they're getting their points, not because of Mariota, who sucks. So the over comes in. Cleveland as a road favorite wasn't bad. Play against Atlanta as a home dog, 12-1. Well, that actually worked. If you played Cleveland at 4.5, it's a winner. And this was one of those play a teaser, you win. You win the over, you win the under, you win Cleveland, you win Atlanta. So when I get a signal like play against the home dog, then at 1.5, I would have played Cleveland 4.5. But with 2 over teams and 2 weak defenses, I played it over. Cleveland has a lot of injuries on their defense. Clowney was hurt. The other defensive end was hurt. I can't think of his name. So you had that. So anyway, Seattle, Detroit, I made it very clear. How can Detroit be favored? They went from 6 to 3.5. They lose the game outright. Seattle didn't punt. They didn't. How do you freaking not punt a game? In a pro game, they score 48 points, 1 pick six. So they get the ball 6 times, 6 touchdowns or a variety of points, but they never punted. All of a sudden, the Lions, the running back was out, the receiver, St. Brown's out, and all of a sudden they're scoring at will on Seattle. So you're going, how bad Seattle's defense? They were nowhere to be seen, but they kept having 10-point leads. So was it because their offense was so successful that they kept playing more of a prevent defense and the Lions threw short and drove down the field? So it really wasn't. They really didn't have their stick defense, and they did early, and the Lions were punting. And then near the end, when they're up 10, they're up 14. And the Lions do what the Lions do. They're down 48-38. They score this late touchdown. Oh, look, we almost won. Look how close it was. And yet they didn't win. They didn't have a chance. They weren't close. So 48-45 Seattle. Strong dog, 23-3 is a road dog, now 24-3, even though they lost at the Niners. But if you continue with the trend, it's going to lose once in a while. We understand that. Nothing's 100%. A, I'm predicting the future, and B, this is gambling, on sports. So nothing's going to be 100%. Even when you have a 100% trend, it doesn't always last, although this week was pretty damn good. So again, Detroit can't be a favorite. They're a dog this week against New England. They're not going to win. So again, Detroit, weak defense hurting them. This game, Detroit's an over team, so they scored 38 and give up 35. So you're expecting a high scoring game. Seattle's a W, means they don't score a lot, but they give up a lot. Well, now they're probably an over because they scored 48 and in only 4 games. That's going to skew their points. So they got 7 against the 49ers, but now they come back with 48. So now it's makes it a 22. So it makes them more of an over team. Their defense still sucks. The Lions, terrible defense. That's why you cannot bet a team with a bad defense because you don't know what's going to happen. You need to bet the teams with good defenses. So in this case, the road dogs, Seattle, 24-3. And again, that's a weak favorite. How can Detroit be favored in the game? That's what really doesn't make sense to me. Just because they were at home, they're thinking Seattle's bad. Geno Smith's fine. I'd rather have Russell Wilson, but he's still got Metcalf and Lockett, so he's still got great receivers. And Penny's finally healthy, and then Walker from Michigan State will get out there. So, yeah, I mean, Seattle's fine. They need some help defensively, but they got Coach Pete. He knows how to win. Dallas, Washington. This was lock number 1 in pros. This one I locked under. Dallas with this defense is unbelievable. They don't give up a lot. They're an under team, which means they don't score a lot, but they don't give up anything. It's a beautiful under team. Washington's a W, which means they don't score a lot, but they have kind of a weak defense. And that's exactly the way the game went. They get 10 points, weak offense, going into Dallas's defense, under 10. Dallas gets under, scores 25, and against the weak defense of Washington. So the over-under was 41.5. I go under 47.5, 25, 10, 35, not even close. Dallas unders a lot if they play the right teams. I'm waiting for Dallas if they play Frisco. That could be the lock of the year if they give me a 42. I'll tell you that because that's under City. And I like Cooper Rush better because he doesn't turn the ball over like whatchamacallit does. Prescott, too many interceptions, too many missed receivers. So Russ is very careful with the ball. I like Cooper Rush. He's fine. Look at 20. I think he's 3-0 now. They're going to have very interesting. They'll probably go back to Prescott, but they should stay with Rush. He was in Central Michigan. He was a very good quarterback. You can see they're winning. Don't fuck it up. Prescott gets more. He makes more. No, are you winning? So why go back to Prescott? He's not even a good bat. He's not. He can't read defenses. Okay, so that was lock number 1. The Giants and the Bears, under versus under, weak offenses, strong defenses, or at least they play low-scoring games. I played the game under 39 to make it 45, 20-12. It's exactly what you expect. Daniel Jones sucks as the quarterback. Fields, we know, sucks. Their offense is him running when he can't find anybody open because he doesn't know how to read a defense. Gets blitzed a lot, gets sacked a lot, and so does Jones. All you got to do with these weak quarterbacks is blitz them, and you own them. So this was an easy under. Again, under 45. Now this is low, 39. If you start getting to 37, 36s, you got to, look, this was a 32. So you could have went over 33 when you would have lost. That's why you go under the 45. But had they made it 36, you almost then go over 30. You get to the point, it's too low. They'll find points, which is what they did. So that's what you got to – same thing when you get these high over-unders in college, you got to – if it's too high, then you got to just lay away from it. But if it's even though you see high-scoring games in college, you just got to be careful. You can't lay 75 and go over. At that point, you almost think under. Just because the one team with the lead is going to start running the ball, just to run the clock out. All right, Baltimore, Buffalo. Buffalo laying 3.5. Baltimore 5-0 as a home dog. I took Baltimore and the 9.5. Easy win. They were up 20-10. Where did Lamar go in the second half? I thought about the over, but Buffalo's an A team. Good offense, good defense. Baltimore being an over team, good offense and a weak defense. So if you notice the correlation, I got Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, and I drink it, and then I start hacking. So I don't know if it's because it's cold. There's no sugar in it, so I'm not quite sure. But I am noticing the correlation. I might have to open up the Canadian Club. I don't want to open it. I've had it since I worked there in the 90s. But it's funny. It says age 12 years, and now it's like, that was in 96. So 16, 30. It'll almost be age 42 years soon. Anyway, so hard to take the game over with an under defense like Buffalo has. So I went with Baltimore in the 9. As I thought about it, I just thought they'll play him a game and they'll keep it close, which is what, Buffalo's on the road. They don't blow out every game. They blew out the Rams, and you saw the Rams got blown out yesterday, 24-9. And then they blew out Tennessee at home while they were having problems. Now Tennessee's better. I doubt they'd blow them out if they played now. And then, so Baltimore at home. Now Baltimore's got their back against the wall. But they don't have a defense. And apparently they don't have a head coach with any brains inside of his head. So, again, Buffalo minus the 3.5. I took the 9.5. They're up 20-3, 20-10. And at the end, they should have taken the 23-20 lead and made Buffalo kick the field goal to tie. And they didn't do that. So bad coaching, terrible decision-making, as we've talked. But I do get the win, having 9.5 with Baltimore. I thought it was just the more prudent than going over. And it's just a gut. Do I go over or do I go tease the dog? But since they're 5-0, I did take Baltimore. It was funny. I played them, but then I didn't realize I played them. So I go onto the site later to check my, some spreads, and I go, oh, I do have Baltimore. So I thought I had bet them, and then I didn't see it, and then I realized I did, and they won. So far it's a big 1 o'clock. I won every game at 1. Indy minus 3.5 to Tennessee. That was a no-brainer. Indy's an under team, so they don't score a lot. Tennessee's a W team where they don't score that much, and their defense is a little shaky. But again, that was mostly the Buffalo game. So if you take the Buffalo game out, they're not that bad. They had the Giants in week 1, and then last week they beat Oakland. So now they're starting to play. So I went with them. Sometimes you got to understand backs against the wall. So Tennessee had the back against the wall against Oakland, got the win, and now they got the momentum and the confidence, and now that triggered this. So again, why was Indy favored? Like, why is Detroit favored? Made no sense. Even why was the Giants favored? I guess you got to favor somebody, in the Giants. You could have made it even, I think. Would have been a better line than Giants minus 3. But so Indy minus 3.5. I had Tennessee minus 3 in my line. They get an easy 24-17. Over-under was 43. I circled the game over because Tennessee, their defense is weak. Indy under. It's 41. It's 43. I didn't play the over. I took Tennessee in the 9.5. So, again, every game at 1 I hit. Then Jacksonville and Philly. This was my other lock that I locked with Oregon over. So this was my college pro lock. So I see Oregon. So I've got my locks in, right? I've got Georgia under, Iowa under, lock number 1, 21 unit, beautiful lock. Then I've got UCLA locked with Wake Forest over, which, again, I still can't believe that game didn't go. I thought Florida State was better. My mistake. So that's the second lock. And I'm 3 in one of my locks. And then I locked here Oregon and the Jacksonville under. watching the San Diego game and seeing how they beat Indy 24-0, I go, this defense looks really good, and it looked really good against San Diego. So when I see that, I know Philly's got a good defense, and I figure they're going to get after Hurts. So I'm figuring he's not going to run all over him. Now, the first spread I saw was 47 is when I bet the game and posted it. So under 53, which is important because it ends at 50. Somehow, I don't know. I see 14-0 in the first quarter. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to win. Then it goes 20-14 at halftime. I go, I don't have a chance. And then I go swim and I look, and it's the finals 29-21, 50. The lock wins, the bet wins 53. But on two cards I played with friends, they were 50s. Now, teasers tie is a push. So on two different cards, the 50 pushed out. Now, one of the 50s was with Dallas under. So that push, which should have been a winner, goes to a no play. The other one was on a 5-teamer or 6-teamer, and that push. But we'll get to the final on that one. And I lost because Denver by a half a fucking point because they missed an extra point at the end of the half. Anyway, so Jacksonville, Philly, both A teams. The lock was based on both defenses are strong and unders. I'm figuring Jacksonville's speed will neutralize Hurts, which I got to watch the game to see what exactly happened. I know Jacksonville got a pick 6 on Hurts. Anyway, big win, 50. This is why I've just locked a game yesterday, and I texted my customers, my friends, my customers are my friends. I have other friends, but basically your family here. This isn't, it's a different type of business. So I said, get this game in. I said, I don't want to wait. It's a college lock. I want to get it before it goes through the roof. And the same thing with the pro lock. I want to get it while the line is still there because the line is going to go up based on an injury. So I've already said, play these games. Play them now after what happened with Jacksonville. With the 53s a winner, and I get 2 pushes on 50s because they don't bet it till Sunday, and the line goes down from 47 to 44, which I always wonder if the line's going down because they hear my show or what, because I locked it under, and next thing I know, the line drops 3 points, really. Anyway, so lock number 2, 4, 5. Lock number 6 wins. So now we're 5-1 on our locks, and we have one lock at laugh, which was last night. The Jets and Pitt. Again, I go, how can Pitt be favored here? They're a weak favorite with Trubisky. They brought in Pickett. Now let's see. He's a little bit weak, so we'll see. He was okay at Pitt the last year, not the first few years. I know he was highly talented, but he did nothing the first year or two. The last year they brought in a different coordinator, different offense, and he did really well in it. So I'm curious to see what he does at Pitt. The Jets score at the end to win. Zach Wilson looked very good. The Jets seem to have receivers. They seem to almost be a football team. So the Jets win. I've got the under pick, but I don't play it. Pittsburgh is an under team. They don't score. Very good defense. And for their offense, I got weak. Excuse me. So I have this as a weak. I show them as a weak offense, which means they don't even get 300 yards. And then I got the Jets as a W team, which means a weak offense, but an over defense on their passing team. The trend, play against Pittsburgh 16-3 as a home favorite, works again. It's these trends work more than they don't. They're not the only thing I look at, but they do, Seattle 23-3, you can't ignore it now, 24-3. And I watch when the trends change or, when, they don't have Russell Wilson and be okay. Well, apparently it doesn't matter. They lost the Frisco game, but as you can see, Frisco's got a pretty mean defense. So the Jets win at the end, 24-20, played against Pitt. You would win. I didn't play the game. I was on Tennessee and Baltimore and the Jacksonville lock and the Dallas lock, and I'm going, okay, that's enough. There's a point where you're like, me, I could bet every game because the way I analyze it, I'm going to find either the dog or I'm going to find the over-under to play. So I did like the under, which would have won, but I didn't play it. And again, I could have played the Jets, but Zach Wilson's first game back. Now I feel better about the Jets. I mean, they were a very bad team, and they're getting a little bit better. San Diego, Houston, play against San Diego, 44-8, 45-8. Lane 6. How do I take Houston? Houston's an under team, weak offense. So good defense, terrible offense, low scoring. San Diego, a W team. They don't score a lot, and they got an over defense. So I'm confused. I'm like, well, I should bet against San Diego because they're 44-8 against. But like the Pitt game, how do I play the Jets? And then how do I play Houston? And that's where it gets kind of mind-blowing is the play is Houston in 12, and it wins. But how do you play it? I'm not playing Mills. He's not a pro quarterback. So there was nothing I could do. The only play I could make is Houston, and I couldn't play it. Again, I got an under team against an over team, and those are really hard. The game does go over 58, over under a 45, but I couldn't have saw that with Houston. Maybe they're more of an over now than they were an under, but that's after only 3 games. This is why after week 4, we know the team now. Now I've got the stats. I've got the numbers. Now I know who's what and where, and it'll start showing as Houston probably goes to a Z team soon. I mean, they're probably the worst team. Arizona, Carolina. This was perfect. Arizona, again, why was Carolina favored? I like Mayfield, but again, McCaffrey always gets hurt. Played a little, gets hurt. Arizona, I had -3 as the line. Carolina ends up being a 1-point favorite. I love Arizona in the game. They're 10-0 as a road dog. Play against Carolina as a home favorite, 8-0. I take Arizona and the 7. They win by 10. Beautiful play. Very easy play. Again, this is based on Carolina's got a weak offense, right? So they're not going to score a lot anyway. And Arizona, we know, could be explosive. He's getting used to the new receivers because half his receivers are out. And he's got Connor, which I like. So he's got balance, and he can score in the red zone with Connor. And he can score. He's fast. And I'm watching the game. It's like 16-10. Next thing you know, 26-16 Arizona. And in the fourth quarter, it's all over. So big Arizona trend. Good road dog. And then you'll watch them this week. They're at home to Philadelphia, and they're a home dog, and they're a terrible home dog. It's amazing how they're 10-0 as a road dog and like 0-10 as a home dog. I don't understand. How do you explain it? You should be better at home. You're used to the field. You've got your fans, and yet they're terrible at home. So as a road dog, and we had them against Oakland the week before, and they won that game. So they win the 2 on the road as dogs, and then now they're against Philly, and they're going to still lose. Maybe it's just when they're a home dog, they're playing better teams, and they just don't match up well and can't beat better teams. I don't know. New England, Green Bay, -9.5 or 9. One of my friends had it in a ticket where it was -2. So she might have played a 7-point teaser to get it under 3, which was well done. But mostly I did have a -3 that I had bet early. Then it was 9. It was 9.5. this is why you try to get it under a field goal. Green Bay is a under team, as we've noted. Although they're starting, they got 27 here. They should have had 21 on Tampa. They fumbled at the 1, but now they got 27. Now they're playing a little bit more, and they play a little bit better at home. New England. Now, where did this come from? They're a W team, and so a weak offense with a weak defense. Green Bay, you would have figured, would have won handily. Should have won by 7. The receiver, I am so sick of this. He catches the ball, he takes 2 steps, he falls, and then he loses the ball. Why do you have to play to the ground? I mean, he had made the catch and took 2 steps. That's it. He's caught the ball. He's clearly caught it. Why does him falling to the ground and he loses it make it not a catch when he clearly caught it? This rule sucks. I can see if it's instantaneous and the ground makes it incomplete, but not when he catches it and takes 2 steps. That's a catch. At that point, what's a catch? Ball comes to me, I caught it. Okay, now who cares what happens 2 steps later? If I fall down, if I throw it in the stands like Calvin Johnson did, it's a catch. So terrible. They should have won 31-24. But that's why it's hard to lay more than 3 in this league. And that's why you try to get under 3 the best you can. Now, Zappe, look how good he looked, right? A little shaky in the first half. Looked like gold in the second half. Nice touchdown throw. The guy's wide open. He spots him. He lays it right in there. Zappe is a good one, and I told you that. Sometimes I tell you the right things on these quarterbacks. Zappe is better than Jones. I would rather have Zappe. Look for Zappe to keep playing. Jones has a high ankle sprain. He'll be out 4 weeks or 5 weeks. Although now he'll be back sooner because Zappe looks good. But this ain't Alabama. They're not playing Vanderbilt. I mean, this is the pros, and Zappe looks freaking good. He was great at Western Kentucky. I remember the bowl game. One friend goes to me, he says, man, who's that Zappe, man? And I go, that's why we bet Western Kentucky. And he's just throwing, boom, 20 yards out, boom, right in the chest. Great quarterback. I don't think New England will change, and I do like New England a whole lot better with Zappe. The quarterback's critical for the team. This is why I Mills and Lamar Jackson and Fields and Taylor. This is why I say it, because without a good quarterback, you ain't doing anything. And that's why I really try to tell you about Josh Allen. If you looked at him against Baltimore, he sucked. He did good running. I don't want my quarterback running because they're going to take his knees out and then he's done. I don't want him getting injured. I want him to throw the ball down the field, but he's incapable. He had the touchdown run, 15 yards, and he took a shot to the legs. And what the hell is he doing? Yeah, it's a touchdown, but it's not what you want. Anyway, so Green Bay gets the win, 27-24. So I get a push. I get a win on one card that was -2, and that's it. I had the under circled because Green Bay was playing Tampa to a 14-12 game, for Christ's sake. So I figured New England, and with Matt, again, this is the injury. Matt Jones stays in the game. I think Green Bay kills him. Zappe comes in, and now how do I defend him? What does he do? And it's a lot harder. This is the second game where I had I bet against San Francisco because of Trey Lance, and he sucked. He breaks his ankle, and then Garoppolo comes in, which screwed me up. And now here the same thing. Zappe comes in, and the reason I liked Green Bay and the reason the spread was because Hoyer was the quarterback, who sucks. If Hoyer plays the whole game, this is a blowout. Zappe comes in, why Hoyer was starting shows you how bad a coach Belichick really is. Anyway, so Green Bay gets the win. I think they're still good. I think New England with Zappe is much better. Black Pearl Medal, how you doing? That Bills -3, yeah, that was a push. Giants -3, that one. Eagles parlay worked out. How did you win the Bills -3? And it was 3.5, so they didn't cover. Green Bay they didn't look horrible. Well, that's because Zappy came in the game. Well, you got a good spread if you got laying 3 with Buffalo. It was 3.5. 2-game parlay went okay. Yeah, but I wouldn't make a living betting on the Giants. And the Eagles were down 14-0, so they win by 8 with all these 2-point conversions. But don't underestimate Jacksonville is all I can say. So I'm glad you won some money. That's what the point of this whole class is. But you should have been on the Dallas under, and you should have played the Jacksonville Philly game under. What's that? A duck? I don't understand. You've got to evaluate the team. Like I played the Giants Bears under, and that was a much better play, laying the Giants in 3. So you've got to analyze the game further. You're not quite there yet. In other words, when you're looking at 2 under teams and the over-under is 39, the teaser is under 45, and it's 20-12. Anyway, Denver, Oakland. This was my only. Well, this was one of my losers. The other one was Tampa Bay. Well, it really wasn't Tampa Bay, but we'll go into that in a minute. So Denver, 2.5. I got 8.5. They lose by 9 because they've got the ball and they're running up the middle. Denver's got the ball. Melvin Gordon, he freaking fumbles. It wasn't bad enough he fumbled. The safety gets it, and he goes all the way for a touchdown. And this is near the end of the half. So I'm going to get at least a field goal and take a 19-16 lead and wrap up the game's over. It was like the damn Arkansas A&M game when the guy fumbles at the goal line. You're like, just give me a field goal. It's 14-0. So it gives Oakland momentum. Devontae Adams looked really good. And then to top it off, Denver misses a freaking extra point. When they tie the game at 16 all, they miss the extra point. If they hit that, it's 32-24. It's a W because I got 8.5 and 2 teaser tickets. So this game, and I kept saying, why did I take Denver, not Arizona or Tennessee or Baltimore in the teaser ticket? I couldn't believe, it's always like you're picking the wrong game in the teaser ticket. In college, me and Alex had a 10-team teaser, and we won 9. We win the other 9. We lose the freaking Wake Forest. And then in the pros here, I win everything and lose the Denver. So, again, I lost by a half a point. I had 8.5 where they missed the extra point on a freaking touchdown. They go up 17-16. It was very frustrating. Russell Wilson's starting to look good, hitting Judy in the Penn State and Hamler. Melvin Gordon's running if he wouldn't fumble the freaking ball. Defense looks a little bit shaky right now. Oakland is a W team, although they're scoring better. So they got 32 on Denver, which is good, but an over defense. So we were talking yesterday about backs against the wall, and the back against the wall. He says, well, Oakland had the back against the wall. Well, why didn't I play Oakland back against the wall? I played Tennessee and Cincinnati the week before back against the wall. So back against the wall is a must-win game. The teams are losing a couple in a row. They have to win. It's like, okay, we got to stop fucking around. We need to win. He says, well, Oakland is. And I'm going, yeah, but Oakland's not strong enough for back again. Like the Lions, they've lost 2 or 3 games in a row. They lost 2 in a row. I'm not betting them against New England. They're not good enough to win back against the wall. The back against the walls are the winning teams. Cincinnati, Tennessee's a good team. Dallas, Buffalo, Baltimore. Why didn't Baltimore win? If Baltimore wins, we lock Buffalo this week after 2 losses in a row. That pissed me off more than anything else. Because Buffalo, after 2 losses, they got Pittsburgh and they're laying 14. Okay, that's unbettable, but still, if it was a back against the wall, I might take it, but I don't know. So anyway, Denver, I lose by half a point. I circled the under in the game, but that doesn't work because Denver's, who's an under team, gives up 32, although really 7 of it was the fumble return. So when you get that, you can't get You can't get the fumble. That kills the under. But I didn't play the under. I played Denver. Why did I play Denver? 11-2 is a road dog. Now, keep in mind, that's not with Russell Wilson, although he's a strong road dog on the Seattle stats. He's the 23-3 road dog at Seattle's Russell Wilson. So I'm like, okay, play against Oakland. 9-2 is a home favorite. Well, now that's 9-3. So you had a double there. You had a pretty good trend. You had a under team against an under defense against an over defense. I'm thinking Denver's going to score, keep it close, win, and they should have. But that's what happens. Oakland got a late touchdown. It was 25-23, and then Oakland scored a touchdown to go 32-23 instead of bleeding the clock and kicking a field goal like Green Bay likes to do. So that was really the only loser. Green Bay was kind of a push. I lose the Denver game, and now Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, KC. I like Tampa as a home dog. They were a home dog getting one. It moves to them as a favorite. I don't like them I want the dog in the game. I would have played Kansas City if I hadn't already played Tampa as the dog. So I got Tampa in 7. That loses. Brady looks okay. Their defense, that was the reason of the bet. I'm going, well, they held Rodgers to 14, but I do note the fumble at the 1 yard line. So, maybe 21. But I know he's got his receivers back, and I'm expecting more from Brady, which I get. 31. I had the under circled in this game. Thank God I didn't listen to myself there. I said, well, shit, he played at 26 with Rodgers. Maybe they're going to keep KC under wraps. But Mahomes played out of his mind. Now, here's my question. KC goes to Indy and loses the fucking game to Indy. Okay. And then they come to Tampa and put up 41 and probably don't punt. And you're like, okay, if KC's that good, how did they lose to Indy? And that's what we look at for letdowns and things like that. So will KC let down now that they beat Tampa? It was an emotional win. I don't think so because they got Oakland at home. They're not going to let down. You don't normally let down at home, and like Buffalo lost to Miami, and then they were at Baltimore. So maybe they were well, not that it was a letdown, but off of a loss, maybe they're in trouble. But here, Tampa now against the wall. They lost to Green Bay and KC. Now they lost to 2 great teams with great quarterbacks. The first game they had no receivers. All the receivers came back. Julio Jones and whatever, the 2 normal Godwin, I think, and I don't know, the other guy. I can't think of the names right now. So 41-31, I have 7, so I lose that one. Very small. I don't like to fuck with Kansas City. I like Brady as a dog, but it turns out he wasn't a dog. So you can see KC that they were a dog, then they win. In Indy, they're a favorite, and they don't even try. I mean, they get put out by Indianapolis. Like, Jesus Christ. And the last game, the Rams and the Niners. This is the last lock. The lock of this was looking at San Francisco under and the Rams with the weak offense and an over defense. And I said, perfect. I see the over-under is like 43. I go 49, not against this defense. So my lock here was under 49.5 or 49, something like that. Noticing that Frisco killed Seattle and Seattle puts up 48 on Detroit. I'm going, this defense is pretty fucking good. And so I locked, I think, Frisco last week, and now I locked the under, and now I'm locking the under again. You got Garoppolo, kind of a weak quarterback with this incredible defense, and they run Samuel enough that he'll get you the points. When I looked at the bet, Frisco had won the last 7. The under was clearly a better play. I'm having connection problem. Okay. Haven't been on that long. So the under, I felt, was a better play than 49ers as a favorite plus 4.5. Turned out it didn't matter. Again, see, this is an under. They hold the Rams to field goals, the great Rams, because they don't have a running attack. And they just ran it down their throats, and it was an easy win, 24-9. So lock number one, Georgia under, Iowa under, 21 unit wins. Lock number two, UCLA with Wake Forest loses, but it was 15 units or so. Lock number three, 21 units, is Oregon over, easy win, with Jacksonville under, which somehow we got it. And then the fourth lock was the Dallas under with the Niner under. Beautiful locks. I love the Dallas Niner lock. When I saw it, I see Dallas as this great defense under team. They're not going to score a lot. Frisco's the same thing. And it was just beautiful. I mean, that's what you're looking for, but I found it in my stats. So why do I grade the team? That's what I'm doing. So when I grade the team, I'm looking at the stats, and I'm looking at, well, wait a minute, look at this. I showed you they're barely, most of these teams, they don't score, and they got good defense. So every game's like under 20. I took the dog in my initial pick was the dog in every game. 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1, 8-1, 9-1, 10-1, 10-2, 11-2, 11-3. The only game I didn't pick the dog on was Green Bay. Now, Black Pearl, for your Green Bay looked horrible. I lost them then Sunday night. Well, they didn't look horrible, but what happened was the reason of the Green Bay bout was because Hoyer was the quarterback, and Hoyer didn't quarterback. He played the first quarter, got knocked out, and Zappe came in, my man. Now it's a whole different bet. If I know Zappe's the quarterback, the only reason I liked Green Bay was Hoyer was the quarterback. I was betting against Hoyer. He gets injured. Zappe comes in. I never would have taken Green Bay, and because I like Zappe. I see. How you doing? You do 3-team teasers at most? No, I do. I did a 10-team teaser with Alex, and we went 9-1 on it. But I'll do whatever I feel is like. Here, I had 8 locks. I would have done an 8-team teaser. I seem to struggle with 4-team teasers, getting plus 13. Well, I've hit, and Alex had a 5-team teaser. I've hit a 5-team teaser with G. 5 teams it's all a matter of, like, here we had Dallas and Jacksonville under, and Frisco under's 3, the Giants under, and then Arizona is 5, Baltimore and Tennessee. So that's 7 teams there. That would have been it. The only, I would have played 2. I would have played one with Denver and one with Arizona. So I would have won 1 and lost 1. But yeah, that's what you look for. It depends how many games. If there's good games, they're good, boom, boom, boom. Some weeks you can't find good games, so you don't just play a 3-teamer to play it. But I can help you out, I see, on a 5-teamer or whatever. Sean, I didn't think the books would let you play 10 or 13-point teasers anymore. I'm not betting yet. Just heard that. No, one of my friends that I'm betting with, he's asking me, do I do 10 or 13? Do I need to pay for your locks? If you want my locks, yeah, there's a lock special on my site. I think it's $75. You get all the locks. Yeah, or you can. So for $125, you get every pick, pro, college, and all the locks. For $75, you just get the locks. So it's whatever your preference is. But yes, you can do whatever you want. But yeah, it's the locks do cost. Yeah, Sean, apparently the one of my friends that I'm picking for does, he said, well, I think we can do 10 or 13-point teaser. So I don't know where he's doing it from, but depends. There's so many books. There's books online. My bookie is a guy I've known from bowling for a long time. Um, and so it all depends who you're booking with. You can probably go down to the poker room and find a bookie, and he's your bookie. So yeah, it depends on who is doing it. But yeah, there are 10 and 13s out there. But he asked me, do I want to play the sixes or the tens? And I says, I don't see the value in the 10. Now, the 10, yes, in the Green Bay game would have helped you, and in the Oakland game would have helped you. We would have had 12 and a half. They lost by 9, and Green Bay wins by 3. So it would have helped us there. But as you can see, we didn't need it in Baltimore. We didn't need it in Tennessee. Didn't need it in Jacksonville under, Dallas under, Seattle, the Cincinnati over, the Arizona game. The only game would have been the Green Bay game, but I still got pushes in that, and then the Denver. So really, the only loser was Denver. But you've got to pick 4 games, I think 10 points, and the odds suck. I mean, you're not making any money. So for better odds and a better value, I just assume play a 5-team, 6-point teaser. It's not hard for me to pick 5 teams, and the odds are much better than going longer. So that's what I do. So again, very strong week. Like I said, it takes a few weeks to really figure out the pros. Like Jacksonville's an A team now. Houston's still bad. Arizona, we know. New England with Zappy's going to be a whole different. Denver's getting used to Russell Wilson, but you can see they're starting to score 23 points. They'll get the chemistry going. Oakland, Carr and Adams are getting their chemistry, I saw. KC's waking up. Tampa Bay, if they have Mike Evans, that's through. They have Evans and Jones playing, so he's got to get used to Jones. And Jones has to actually play and not have a hamstring for the whole year. And then, the Rams are looking like shit, but that's Stafford. So that's what happened last week. 3-0 on the pro locks, 4-1 on the college, 7-1 in my locks. Hit 2 21ers and hit a 17 and lost the 17. So up 42 units on the locks. And again, I like when the big locks win. This week I already posted 2 locks. I love them. Very strong play. In college, I've been waiting for, and I got what I wanted. And I bet an over that is going to go up 5-6 points, but that hasn't already. No, I looked at it; it had stayed. That's what I'm like, seeing how these over-unders move. If it's an over-under game, you got to bet it like now, because by the game, like look at what happened with Jacksonville. That was a lock under. Now I'm surprised it went down from 47 to 44. I won easy at 53, but in a couple of picks with my friends, it had dropped to 44. It was now under 50. Now, in a teaser, a push is a push. You don't lose. There's some cards in Vegas at Caesars or wherever where it's ties win, but I think they make it half points or something, but they do have ties win. So again, had you been in Vegas and bet the cards Sunday morning, you would have had 47 with Jacksonville and went under 53 because the cards don't change. That's why I like the cards sometimes. If you go up, like the line goes down to 44, I would have went to the card to bet this and gotten 53 instead of 50, and it turns a push into a win. So the unders will move, especially by game time. So this college lock, I want to get it in now. It's got to go. It's going to go higher. So I'm as worried about the point spread as I am worried about the over. So if I got to or over the total. So let's take a look at next week. Now I got to update stats. I'm going to do that after the show because you got to wait till Tuesday because Monday Night Football. So if I do it Monday, I don't have the stats. I don't have like the complete, like I wouldn't have had the Rams and the Niners in it. I want all the teams. So today I bring in the new stats. I reanalyze. Did anybody change? Like Denver is probably not as much of an under. Oakland probably will end up as an over. Good offense, terrible defense. and saying, the teams are settling down now. The offenses are getting their timings. That's what's happening. So that's what you look for. That's why I say, like, week one, who the hell knows? And you almost want to throw it out. Green Bay loses to Minnie, 24-7 or something, like 20-7. They play now, I guarantee you Green Bay wins, as they beat Tampa. And now, all right, New England shouldn't have been, again, the quarterback injury. It's funny how normally the quarterback injury hurts you because you bet the quarterback, he gets injured. And, like Fresno State, we got the over with USC. And Hainer gets, I don't think he broke his ankle because he's listed as questionable today. But he hurts his ankle in the game out, and then you miss the over by 2 points. And if he plays, I'm sure he's going to get you a couple more touchdowns. So that hurts me. But then twice in the pros, I bet against Lance, and then he gets hurt. Garoppolo comes in, I lose, and then with Green Bay, I get a push. But I bet against Hoyer, and then he gets hurt, and Zappe comes in. It's like, dudes, don't hurt the weak quarterbacks. All right, so who's got the backs against the wall? So let's look. Indy, they're too weak to have backs against the wall. It's got to be a good team that can do something about it. Denver, I don't know if they're backs against the wall, but they need a win after this loss. So they'll just a normal. The Giants won, Green Bay won, so that's not. Now, keep in mind, I did not realize the Minnesota-New Orleans game was in London. So I go to analyze it, it's already 7-0. This week, the Green Bay Giant game is in London. So keep that in mind. It's 9 a.m. Now, what puzzles me is England's going into a depression. Their currency's collapsing. Who the fuck's going to a football game of the Giants in Green Bay when who has money to go to the game when the whole economy is collapsing? It's just, I don't know. I don't quite follow that. But okay, so why are they still going to London? Maybe they're obviously doing it for money, but I don't see it. So neither of those teams, both are on wins. Detroit, they've lost 2 in a row, but I don't even know if they know what their backs against the wall means in Detroit. New England lost, but now with Zappe, I like them a whole lot more than with Hoyer. So you got to have a good quarterback. Buffalo, Pitt. Look for Pickett to start. That's a whole different animal than Trubisky here against Buffalo. Now, Buffalo got the freaking win. They should have lost. It would have set up a lock right here, but it doesn't. So Buffalo now with the win, they're laying 14 points. My spread's 7 because with Pitt ain't that bad. Buffalo is not that good. I don't see how Buffalo is favored by 14 here. That's a joke. That's a terrible missed line. So don't fall for it. I think Daniel Jones might be out for the Giants. So let's see. So if he's out, did he get hurt quarterback running? So the Giants, Tyrod Taylor, he sucks too, but okay, he's better than Jones. So I have a list from preseason, the team and their couple of quarterbacks, their backup. So this should be Tyrod Taylor quarterbacking. Thank you, I see. Good old Detroit, make a lot of money betting them. Yeah. No, we can't trust Pickett yet. Absolutely not. But he's better than Trubisky. I thought they had a third quarterback who I liked. Pitt. Yeah, they have Mason Rudolph. I'm not quite sure they shouldn't be playing him now. I agree. I don't think Pickett's ready. And maybe with Buffalo, but I still don't trust Buffalo minus 14. Because Pitt's defense should keep him in the game, and Pitt should just run the ball. So it might actually lead to an under because you're probably not going to get any points from Pitt. The question is going to be how many interceptions and where are the interceptions by Pickett? If he throws them inside his own 10, that leads to an over. If he does it at Buffalo's 10, it's going to lead to an under. But, Pitt's not stupid. They're going to have short little passes, work with Pickett to get him more accustomed. But does Pitt have their back against the wall, but are going to do anything about it? Houston, Jacksonville. Yeah, I guess Houston has their back against the wall, but they're the worst team in the league. So you can't use back against the wall with Houston because they can't do anything about it. Jacksonville, you could. They don't have their back against the wall. They beat San Diego, and then they lost to Philly. So they're off a loss. This is a very strong defensive team. Keep that in mind. They're laying 7 and 43. I'll have to see which way I like, but this should be a good under game, I think. Atlanta, Tampa Bay minus 8.5, 47.5. My number is Tampa minus 10. Cordell Patterson is out. My advice is get this game in before it rolls to 9, and you got to lay 3, and you get Green Bay at 2.5. Tampa Bay back against the wall. This has got to be the number one play this week. I mean, they can't lose. They got the receivers back. Jones will probably play Evans and the other guy who I can't remember. They don't have Gronk, but they got Julio Jones, and they got Fournette. Brady, the line. Their defense is very strong. Atlanta, without Patterson, and Mariota sucks. He wants to run. They'll take him out. And then without Patterson, that's how Atlanta's been scoring. I just don't see. Now I looked at Tampa Bay against Atlanta with Brady, and they've blown them out 3 times. So this is your ace play of the week. Godwin. Okay, Godwin, that's good. I know there's one guy that's out for a while, but yeah, Godwin, Evans, and then Julio Jones replaces Gronk, but he's already listed as questionable with the leg, Julio Jones. It's like automatic. My hamstring. It's my hamstring. It's the Super Bowl, Julio. Oh, well, I feel better now. I can play. Brady 9-0 versus well, it's hard to take the New England ones because they don't play. It's more meaningful now because they play each other twice a year. So that's what I'm looking at. But Atlanta with the weak defense and Mariota against Brady. But the key is that off of 2 losses in a row, must win for Tampa. Brady hates losing. This is all a Brady bet here. So get it in before it hits 3. Not that that's going to matter, but it's just I could bet it's a more comfortable bet at 2.5. I just looked before the show; it's still 8.5. When will it go to 9? I don't know. But with Patterson out, that's Atlanta's offense. So you've got the best of both worlds. You got Tampa at home against a weak defense, and their best offensive player, Patterson, who's better than their quarterback, is out. He's out. It's not even questionable. Seattle, New Orleans. Seattle just handled Detroit. New Orleans. I'm going to ask this question. Why is New Orleans favored? Now, who is New Orleans? Oh, Andy Dalton. So Dalton's now the quarterback, and I like Dalton better than Winston. He wasn't bad. Well, he was good at TCU. He wasn't bad at Cincinnati. He wasn't the reason they lost. They went to the playoffs a lot. It was their defense and their coach. So I feel that this will be a close game. I think Seattle found their offense, and Geno Smith's okay, and he's hitting Metcalf, so he's getting comfortable with the receivers. You got Coach Pete. I like Seattle here as a good dog, and we know how they are as a road dog. I just said they are 24-3 as a road dog. Let me write that in for my analysis. 24-3 road dog, and I bet New Orleans is not that strong as a home favorite. So, this is what you got. Now their defense sucks, but their offense, New Orleans doesn't have that type of defense. They don't have a Dallas. Dallas would kill Seattle, but they don't have that defense. I have Cleveland -3. They have San Diego -3. I'm wondering why San Diego's a road favorite here. I like Dalton better than Winston too. 24-3 is a road dog. What? Yeah, mostly Russell Wilson. The other one is San Diego is just incredible as a road dog. This isn't a teaser, and this goes back 5 years. Russell Wilson, mostly it's Russell Wilson, but as you see last week, they covered um, as a road dog to Detroit. So Seattle's I think it's a Coach Pete thing and it's a Russell Wilson thing, but they did get it last week. Now they did lose to Frisco as a road dog in week 2, but then against the line, against New Orleans, this isn't a Frisco defense. I like San Diego. I mean, I thought Cleveland would be favored here, so I'm a little surprised San Diego. Again, Bosa's, I assume, out, and you haven't had Keenan Allen, so they're doing things without those two. Khalil Mack, and then you've got James, the safety, who's big hitter. And Cleveland, I'm not a big Brissett fan, but he looks okay. And then he at least stays in and he can throw. And then you got Chubb, so it's all Chubb. Over unders 48. I know this is. I don't know. I mean, San Diego started. They look good, but that was against you. See, here's the problem, right? They look good against Houston. So what does that tell you? Does that tell you? And do you learn anything from it? You learn that Houston actually scored on them. So I like Cleveland as a home dog and maybe the over in the game. But I got to do more research, and I got to see if Keenan Allen's playing or Bosa. How serious is that injury? I think he's out till November. The Bears against the Vikings. Minnesota -7. That's what I got. Over under 43. The Bears with Fields are just pathetic. The Vikings aren't much better, and they're coming from London, so don't lose track of that. They've got their schedule screwed up. They've had a long flight Sunday night, which fortunately coming back, you gain the time. So when I go to Europe, it takes like 2 days to get, like if you leave Friday night, you get there Saturday afternoon because it's 7 hours over the ocean and then the time change. So you get into, let's say, London or Frankfurt at 6 a.m, but it's really 1 a.m. And then you usually take a 10 o'clock flight going to London. They didn't have that. So again, you lose a full day coming, but going home, you usually take a 10 a.m. flight. And I get back into Detroit, by 5 p.m. So it's all on Sunday. And so you usually are okay with that. So coming home, they don't lose the day. They are tired from a long flight, but should be okay. They're at home. The same with New Orleans. I apologize. So New Orleans is also coming from London, also with the home game. So that should affect them a little bit just because they're off rhythm and the long flight's got to hurt. So this should be a Minnesota play. Now, here we can see the division series. This series makes sense. They play each other twice a year. Let's see how they do in mini. So that'll be one thing. And then the injuries. Tennessee, Washington. I wanted Washington to be a 3-point favorite so I could take Tennessee as a dog again. But Tennessee's a 3-point favorite. Over under 43. Washington stinks. Tennessee, this is probably going to be an under game. I have to check it. Washington with Wentz is terrible. We all know that. Here's where we bet against the quarterback, and here's where we don't want it. We don't want Wentz to get hurt, and then they bring in Henneke, who's much better. It's just amazing, the coach. I don't get it. What do they think is so good about Wentz? I mean, he sucked at Philly. He had one good year, and he ran a lot. Then he gets hurt because he doesn't slide in the end zone, hurts his knee. Then he sucks at Philly, and he gets injured. Then he goes to Indy. Couldn't beat Jacksonville to win the title. But now, as we see, Jacksonville, they didn't have the Georgia guy. So he loses that, so he can't handle pressure. And now he goes to Washington. Well, let's make him our starter. Is the same as Pitt making Trubisky the starter, then realizing he sucks, which you would have saw. He wasn't that good at North Carolina, and then you see him at the Bears, and he sucks. So what makes you, we'll take him at Pitt because he's got experience, but he sucks. It's like Gabbert sucks, and Mills sucks, and I guess I'm the only one that can see it. I don't know why these GMs at these pro teams and the coaches can't see that this guy sucks. So as long as they got Wentz, it's either under. It's hard to see. you got to play the dog more often. So it's hard to take Tennessee late and get 3 on the road, and then they'll probably win by 3, and maybe you win it, but they're not that strong a team to be a road favorite. So it kind of eliminates Tennessee +3, and then it goes to, can you find the over/under? That's why sometimes I play the over/under. I can't play Tennessee as a 3-point favorite here. It just doesn't work. Even as bad as Washington is, you've got to either play Washington in the 9 or you go over/under, because it's not, you can't bet favorites like Tennessee and some of these teams. Heineke is so much better than Wentz. Yeah, Heineke is. Well, he looked good. I mean, I don't understand. He looks fine. He's got the experience. He's better than Wentz. I don't know what they see in Wentz. Anyway, so it's hard to play Tennessee, even though they're better. They'll probably win the game, but it's just, again, I don't like a Tennessee -3 to +3. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Miami 3 over the Jets, who just beat Pitt. Got the interceptions from Pickett. So how's Tagliavua? He gets a concussion against Buffalo, plays against Cincinnati. That guy whiplashed him good, and I like that. He just took him, and it wasn't the hit on the ground. It was, if you watch, he grabs him, and when he's throwing him on the ground, that's when the neck snaps, and then he hits the ground. It was not the neck. It was not the ground that caused this injury. This is the neck getting, like, in a car accident. If he doesn't play, Miami goes to Bridgewater, who I like better than Tagliavua anyway. He's a very good quarterback, so you're not losing anything. The Jets with Wilson, you got to give him credit for coming back and beating Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's defense is still good. Even though they got the interceptions, they still had to move on Pitt's defense. So I don't know. This is a game that's very difficult because the play's the Jets, but do we like the Jets enough to play them? Do we want to risk our money on the Jets? That's where it comes down to. Even though at the end of the day, okay, they win as the dog or they cover as the dog, it's the fucking Jets. It's like taking Houston against Jacksonville. It's hard to do. They're so bad. And yet sometimes, because they're all pros, then they have enough talent to do it. Even though Mills sucks, the line, the defense are still professional players. So that's why they can still keep it close. But I don't know. We'll have to see. But again, I don't like Miami as a road favorite. The Jets just beat Pitt. So this is, again, a tough one. The Niners in Carolina. Carolina's lane 3 was my line. Again, I wanted Frisco as the dog, but I don't get them. 40.5 over under 40. My first blush is go freaking under. This team's defense is incredible. If you saw last night's game of the highlights, I mean, that held Stafford. They were blitzing them. Baker's going to be running around for his life. McCaffrey, he'll be hurt. He'll run and hide because he's getting ready. He doesn't want to get hurt, so he'll run away. And the Niners defense. So Carolina doesn't score a lot anyway. This is a very good under game. And the Niners -4.5. Well, do we trust the Niners plus the 1.5? Now they're coming off a Monday night, so they lost a day, and they got to go from all the way coast to coast. So keep that in mind. So it's different Frisco at home than on the East Coast. So that could be a hindrance. Garoppolo, how much do we like him? So that's what you have. So that's why sometimes I don't want – look at all these road favorites that I don't want. San Diego, Tennessee, Miami, Frisco, and the rest are home favorites. So it's very tough to play road favorites. Very hard to win with road favorites. It's got to be Brady or Rodgers or Mahomes. That's all you can trust. And we bet Mahomes at Indy, and he lost. So if Mahomes at Indy can't get you the win, it's hard to believe any of these Tennessee, Miami, or San Diego is going to get you the win, or San Francisco. Dallas, LA -6. Can somebody explain why they're 6-point favorites? Over under a 46. Can anybody explain that line? That line's 6 points too high. This is a very strong under because of Dallas and that defense and I keep forgetting, I think it's Michael Parsons, the Penn State guy. He blitzes you. They're going to make Frisco's defense look like the Lions' defense. Dallas has the best defense. You tease it under 52, forget about it. They won't even get they won't even get in the 30s. If you watch the Frisco game, they got 9 points. What do you expect them to just explode against this Dallas defense? New England got 19 on them. They couldn't score. They kicked field goals. They could drive down, but since then, Dallas is just shutting down everybody. There's no way this goes over, and I would take Dallas in 12 in a heartbeat with Cooper Rush. Prescott, I might not. With Cooper Rush against that. Now, does the Rams have their back against the wall? Well, we know they lost. This is yesterday. What did they do in week 3? They beat Arizona 20-12. So they're playing a team with no defense, and they scored 20. Then they get Frisco, and they score 9. Aha, they don't have an offense. It's just Stafford. And was so enamored with them. Didn't you watch them for 10 years and the Lions lose? So do they have the backs against the wall? No, they just lost the one game. To me, the backs against the wall is a team needs the game. They're in last place. Cincinnati had lost 2 in a row. They were 0-2. They had to win. They're a Super Bowl team. I can trust them. Tennessee started 0-2 after an embarrassing loss to Buffalo against the weak Oakland team. That's why you do it. So here, I think Dallas is the better team. Who's not playing? 4 touchdowns, 6 inch. Yeah, well, that's the Lions. Who's not playing? I see. I don't remember. My mind goes so active. So we know Heineke. Tua. Oh, okay, good. So now you got Teddy Bridgewater. So you got the bridge man going against whatchamacallit on the Jets. Shit. What the fuck's the guy's name? Anyway, so Bridgewater, he's fine. He throws a lot of interceptions. But the key will be he won't be in sync with these receivers. Not that Tua was in sync, probably more with Waddle because he played with Waddle in college, like Burrow and Chase. But what you got here is Bridgewater never played with Tyreek Hill or Waddle. He's got to get used to it. You can't just go run a deep post thing. It's a timing thing. You got to know how fast Tyreek Hill is, and you got to give him 20 yards, and he's going to catch the ball. A lot of times you'll underthrow him. So is Bridgewater going to do it? So this game could be a lot closer with Bridgewater. Thank you, IC. As you can see, I go into many games, so sometimes I will forget which guy is playing and not playing. So Dallas, LA. I think Dallas solid, strong defense. This is all Dallas here. Philly and Arizona. Philly lane 5 and 50. Do we trust Philly as a road favorite? Now, with what I mentioned about Arizona being incredibly bad at a home dog, Philly has a good defense, which will shut down Arizona. Hurts should be able to run, which is all he can do against this defense. Lane 5, do we trust it? Over, under a 50. What do we do with this? Arizona can score. They played Carolina. So let's just look at it this way. 26-16, they play a 42 with Carolina, but that's okay. Carolina has no offense. But they put up 26 on them. Now they get Philly. What do you do with Philly? Very strong defense. If I look at the Philly-Jacksonville game, just for pointers, I got Philly an A team, under defense, balanced offense. In Arizona, I have an over team with a passing offense, although they do have Connor, but they have a weak defense. So Philly can take advantage of the weak defense of Arizona, should be able to move the ball. They shouldn't put too much pressure on Hurts so he can run, do his little running thing. Um, a weak defense. So do I get over? Philly with a strong defense, but Arizona will dance around. It's a good question. This is kind of a high over 50. You got to go 44. I don't know. I don't know if I trust. I mean, Philly's got a good defense. And the only reason this Jacksonville game hit 50 was the pick six early in the game by Jacksonville, made it 14-0. And then they missed a few extra points. So there was 3 extra points missed. So it should have been a 53 against Jacksonville, which is shocking that went even close to 50. But it was shocking. The first half was 20-14. I couldn't believe I won based on that first half. But I don't know if that's real or not. They went to Washington and won 24-6. Let's go to week 3. And Philly is a road favorite by 6. I don't play Philly, but they win 24-8, and they sack Wentz 75 times. So they are okay as a road favorite against Washington. Arizona with a much better quarterback and much better offense, but a terrible defense. I think Washington's got a better defense. I don't know. Let's see what happens with this line. My guess is Philly goes to 6 or 7, and the line probably goes down to 48 on the over-under, I think. More apt to go under with Philly's defense, but we'll see. Probably I would play Philly here versus the over-under, but I got to research. Baltimore, Cincinnati. Baltimore, do they have their back against the wall? No, they beat New England the week before. See, they beat New England 37-26, and Green Bay should have beat them by that. But again, that wasn't Zappy out there. So Baltimore doesn't have their back against the wall. They did lose to Buffalo, but that's okay. And can somebody explain why they're favored over Cincinnati? Cincinnati is now an A team. They are now playing very good ball. Burrow, their defense, their offensive line, they've got it pretty much figured out. Why is Cincinnati the dog here? I mean, I don't understand. If you just look at the game, Cincy, Baltimore, give me a winner. You're going to give me Cincy. 27-24 Cincy. That's my score, 51. Over under 47.5. Baltimore favored by 3. Cincinnati and 9.5. Seems like the appropriate play here. You're going to trust Baltimore to win when they blew a lead against Buffalo? Jim Kelly, now they're going to face Burrow? They couldn't handle Kelly. Now they're going to handle Burrow and Chase? Are you kidding me? Cincinnati blew them out twice last year, I do believe. So they love blowing out Baltimore. I wouldn't take Baltimore as a 9-foot ball or 10-foot ball. This is all Cincinnati. They're the better team getting points. You got to be kidding me. And that leaves us Oakland, KC. We got to look at the matchup, which I did. Kansas City, I think, won the last 3 or 4, and they won them big, I believe. KC -7 at home. Over under a 50. I think this is an over game, and I think it's a KC game. After what you just saw, now KC had, I think, didn't they lose week? Yeah, they lost to Indy. So their backs weren't against the wall, but they lost to Indy, and then they got revenge for the Super Bowl with Tampa, which is why I was surprised the line switched. I understood KC -1. I thought would go to 3, but I never thought Tampa would be favored, but it was the receivers that came back. So Tampa with the back against the wall. Oakland's got the win. They don't have it. KC got the win. They don't have it. But this is a division game, and KC needs it because they want to win the division. And you got San Diego out there. You got Denver and Oakland. I think this game goes over 50 down to 44 with Mahomes and Carr, and he's got Adams, and they don't have a defense. They played Denver to a 56. What was the Denver score? 32-23, 55. Now, granted, you had that Melvin Gordon fumble return for a touchdown. That really doesn't count. That's a fluke. So you can see it, but you don't anticipate it. So they play a 50-point game with Denver, who has very little offense, but Russell Wilson. And now you've got Kansas City coming, and they're going to light you up. because they just lit up Tampa, and now they're feeling it, and they're at home on a Monday night, and they get blown out by this team all the time. This is where you got to look at the defense. So if I look at what happened, I've got Oakland with a weak offense and a weak defense. So their offense got better with 32. So maybe they're now they're probably at E now, which is like they scored 25 a game, and the weak defense didn't get any better. They gave up 23 to Denver, so they still have a weak defense. KC was a B team, so they score a lot, but they give up a lot. 41-31, they're going to give up a lot. So this game's definitely an over game, and then it's, do you want KC also? The way they look. Now, you got to be careful. Yeah, they look good against Tampa. That's Tampa. That was a Super Bowl revenge rematch. Are they going to look as strong against Oakland? Now, I think they should, because Oakland's defense is not Dallas. You've got to be careful. What you're looking for is weakness. So we're looking at Kansas City with Mahomes or Rodgers, and you're looking against a weak defense. That's what you want to bet them against. You never want to bet them against Frisco or Dallas. You don't want to fuck with those defenses ever, or in college, right? Georgia. You don't fuck with Georgia's defense, Alabama's. No, you don't. So it makes it, we're looking for that weak defense, so we're going to light it up. That's what we look for. That's why college has been unbelievable. So do you want KC -1 against Oakland, or do you want the over 50? I think you could go either way on it. Really, looking at it, I think 44 is not a lot. 27-20, and you got the over. I guarantee you KC's in the 30s here. Question is how much? The question is, what do you like better? I mean, can Oakland pull the upset? They don't have the defense to, but you can't get caught up into KC against Tampa. That's my only thought. So looks like we have a couple of good games. Again, the Tampa game, they have the backs against the wall. I don't really see any other backs against the wall here. Maybe Cleveland, anyone. Tennessee's winning. The Jets can't. Carolina, you can't. Dallas, they did get the win at Washington. The thing you have to do is look at the game without the points and pick the final, right? So if we go Green Bay Giants, we feel Green Bay should win the game with Rodgers, although it's in London. So let's throw a wrench in that. And then you have to give me a final. Do you think Green Bay is going to win with Rodgers, and he's starting to play well, and they beat Tampa, and now they beat New England with Zappy, so it's kind of fuzzy. They still score. That touchdown was there. I can't fucking believe the way they do this. Oh, well, he took 5 steps, but then when he fell down on the ground, he lost control, so it's not a cat. Well, he caught the ball and he ran 2 steps. What are you talking about? God, I hate that. Anyway, so can Green Bay handle it? There's the Giants. Let's look at their defense real quick. Giants. Yeah, they're an under team. I mean, they got an under offense and an under defense. So you don't think the Giants are going to score that much. Green Bay will score as much as they have to, but here you got them -1, not -3.5. This is what the line should have been. The only reason the line was high was because of Hoyer. Unfortunately, he gets hurt. So with the Giants, now you're saying Jones is hurt. And then I said, who's the fucking quarterback? Oh, yeah, Tyrod Taylor. So is Tyrod Taylor going to beat Green Bay? Now, he'll probably run also, but Green Bay's defense looks pretty good. And you got Aaron Rodgers, who is going to win the game for you. So I think this is I would say this is a 30-20 game. I think Green Bay can get 30. Giants maybe find 20, maybe not, maybe less. Over under a 41 tells me that the Giants are not going to score that much. So we got to see, but that's what you really are trying to do, is pick the score without the spread and then see what makes sense. I see Cincinnati beating Baltimore, and I got points. I see Dallas beating the Rams, and they're getting points. I do see Tennessee winning. I do see Frisco winning. I see Minnesota. I don't know. Cousins might throw 3 picks. I don't see that clearly. San Diego, Cleveland's a toss-up. Seattle, New Orleans, I see Seattle winning after what they just put 48 points on the Lions. What's New Orleans like? New Orleans, yeah, they got a weak defense. They don't have a good offense, and they have a weak defense. So, yeah, Seattle has a good chance to win. Tampa's going to win without Patterson. Atlanta's got nothing. Jacksonville should win. Buffalo will win, but now here's where you get what do you do with 14 points? You almost got to take Pitt in 20. I mean, it's Pitt. I mean, it's not Houston. Why is Buffalo laying 14? My spread was Buffalo -7, and I was excited that whatchamacallit's the quarterback. Pickett. So I like Pickett better than Trubisky. I might have saw the 14 with Trubisky, but I wouldn't have seen it with Pickett. Buffalo, Pitt's defense will keep him in the game. See, what you don't understand is the game plan. So the coordinators know Pickett's in the game. They know he threw 3 interceptions. They're going to simplify it. How do we beat Buffalo? Because they're still thinking they're going to beat them. We got to beat him with runs and short passes where he's not going to throw the interceptions. We're going to play defense. We're not going to go for it 4th and 5 at our own 20 like San Diego likes to do. I saw that yesterday, I think in the Cleveland game, 4th and 1 at their own 25. I'm like, are you guys out of your fucking mind? They did get it, but are you kidding me? What kind of guy? And then the Baltimore coach gets the Coach of the Year honors for that. Let's not kick the field goal, because if we take the lead, they'll go for it on 4th down. Was his answer? Like, are you a football coach and this is your thought process? We don't want them to go for it on 4th down because we can't stop them on 4th down. There's not a lot of time left, and you'll have the lead. Believe me, maybe you'll get a turnover and the game's over. But if you don't score and take the lead, you can't win. You can't win if you don't put up the 23. Just amazing. Baltimore's playing since, they made Baltimore the favorite with this idiot coach. Thank you, God. So I don't know what to do. I can't lay. There's no way I'm laying 8 with Buffalo. It's maybe take 20. I don't think I can go over in the game because I got Pickett. They're not going to just throw out the playbook. They're going to throw short little wide receiver screens, running backs out of the backfield, short stuff, run the ball, play defense, keep Buffalo out of the end zone. I don't see how they cover 14. Give Pitt some credit. I mean, but this is where the quarterback makes the difference, right? New England, Detroit, all New England. Green Bay wins. Denver, Indy, I think Denver wins. Again, it was a fluke that Indy beat Kansas City. Wink, wink. Not that it was a fixed game, but the guy did fumble 2 punts. And then they beat Tampa Bay the way they beat them, and you want me to believe they lost to Indy wasn't rigged, huh? Okay, so Denver -3. I think Russell Wilson's getting comfortable with Judy and Hamler, and Melvin Gordon, if he fumbles again, he's going back to Wisconsin. Indy. Sorry. Oh, I love it. It's unavailable. So how do you call somebody unavailable? What does that mean? So Denver, Indy. Denver's an under team. Defense, they might be moved up a little bit because they gave up 32 to Oakland. Well, they really gave up 25 to Oakland. Again, the Gordon fumble, but it's in the figure. So really they did give up 32. And they're playing Indy, who is a under team also. So Indy doesn't score and plays some good defense, but we got them in Denver. This I think is a low spot. I think Denver should be a 7-point favorite. Both teams are over 43. I think the under in this game is probably the appropriate play because I don't think Indy's going to score. Maybe at home, but in Denver, in the Mile High, on the grass, I don't think Indy does anything. And then you got Denver. I think Russell Wilson's gonna. They're off of a loss. They were right there with Oakland. I mean, they moved it on that defense, but Indy's defense is much stronger. So I think you got two good defenses. I think this is under 49. So I got to do my analysis. We got to look for injuries. So we know Tua's out. We got Bridgewater in for that. We got Wilson back for the Jets. We got Taylor in for the Giants. We got Zappy, my man Zappy from Western Kentucky, who is fantastic against Jared Goff. Oh my God. We've got Pitt, we've got Pickett quarterbacking. So keep in mind, it takes them 3 or 4 games to get used to the receivers. You can't do it in practice because the speed of practice, and you can't really measure Aaron Donald in practice, right? Here's Aaron Donald coming after you in practice. You can't measure that. That's why the practice bullshit doesn't work. That's why you bet against these, you take Army and Navy because they can't practice the speed. And Army and Navy have been doing it for a while. The option, they can read it in 2 seconds, in a tenth of a second. The quarterback reads, hands it off or keeps and runs around the end and maybe pitches. He does it instantly because he's done it 1,000 times. You can't practice against that. You can have your scout team run it. They're not going to do it at the speed that Army and Navy does. So in the games, the reactions aren't as strong. That's why it's hard to play Army Navy. But when they play each other, as we saw in Navy Air Force, they know they've practiced against the speed, and therefore they're always low scoring. So I'll keep that in mind. So Zapke looked pretty good, and he'll have a lot of reps. I'm not worried about Zappy. Pickett throws 3 picks because he's not used to the speed. He's going to have serious sack trouble against Buffalo. Tyrod Taylor against Green Bay is going to have serious problems. The Giants don't have receivers anyway. Half of them were out last week, so you got to be careful. And Bridgewater at Miami is going to have to get used to Hill and Waddle and Gesicki. So that's going to be a different animal also. It's going to take him a while. He was pretty good at Denver. It took him a few games. It's going to take him a few games. Can the Jets pull the upset? Is it even an upset with Bridgewater against Wilson? I don't know. Everybody else, I guess, Garoppolo's there and Mayfield and Cooper Rush, much better than Prescott. Stafford, rumbling, same old Stafford. All he does is throw to Cooper Kupp. So all you got to do is double team Cooper Kupp. He'll still throw it to him. Philly's looking good. Arizona, Murray, he's missing the one receiver who's out for 7 weeks. Cincy being a dog at Baltimore is a joke, and Kansas City over Oakland. Either KC or the over, whatever you feel. But KC should have a picnic against that Oakland defense. I don't think they sack, and I don't think they cover. And he's, I think after the loss to Indy, I think KC will be, and then they got the Tampa. Now it's like, okay, let's get, and it's Monday night, so I don't see KC losing this one yet either. So that's what we got. I got to update my stats. This was really a week 4 preview, but I like getting in the week 5. So we'll go through week 5 on Friday. www.teaserking.com gets you my email, which gets you to converse with me when I'm not here. Yeah, I mean, if you want a package, we can talk about it. If you want to do, I do 5-team teasers with several of my friends. So I give you the 5 games. You give me 20% of So if we win $200, you give me $40 for the ticket. You just have to show me the ticket. So I know you bet it and I know how much. If you don't show me the ticket, we won't be doing that. I had somebody who I gave the games to, he doesn't show me the tickets. Oh, I didn't bet it. And they all won. And so, no, you got to show me the ticket just to be on the safe side. I bet Bills $200 for $100 after the Ravens did that easy money. Oh, so you're saying when Baltimore threw the interception, you bet Buffalo. Side note, Tom Brady's getting divorced. Oh, well, he's probably got several hot chicks waiting for him. That's kind of strange. Like when you marry Tom Brady, I know she's from Brazil and a model, but she could have modeled. This excuse of, oh, I had to be a housewife and I couldn't model is bullshit. So you hire a nanny or one of his other kids and they watch the kid. I mean, the kids are at school, have the nanny pick them up. How long is modeling? I mean, go model for what, a couple hours, or I'm sure she could have said, I can give you from 9 to 3, and they would have done it, or on the weekend. So, it doesn't, it's like Urban Meyer with the young girls at Jacksonville. Doesn't surprise me. I'm sure Brady's got girls on the side, so that won't surprise me either. So that's probably why he took off those 2 weeks in the middle of training camp, was to probably talk about the divorce. But I don't know who's got more money, him or her. So didn't seem to affect him on yesterday. So I don't know. I don't know that that'll affect him, but I'm sure he's got other girlfriends, I would imagine. Anyway, so that's what we have. So again, go to the site, www.teaserking.com, and feel free to ask questions. You want to do 5-team teaser? We can do 10-team teasers. Me and Alex I gave him like 13 games to bet. And he said the site only allows 10. And then at 10, it goes to you have to play a 7-point teaser. So I think we'll go 9 teams and play a 6-point teaser and get better odds. But I did go 9-1 on it. Again, Wake Forest over. Jesus Christ, you got to be kidding me. I gave him Oregon. I gave him all the locks. So hard to do. But anyway, so that's what we got looking forward. No, so there's a good 6-7 games that stick out right away. Don't play all of them. I don't understand this live bet thing. I mean, I kind of understand as the game's going on, you can do your bet. I've never done it because I have a bookie and he doesn't do it, and I haven't been in Vegas for a while. So maybe if I'm in Vegas, somebody could show me. I get the concept. I'm betting like Jacksonville going up 14-0. I would have bet Philly to come back. But I had the game under. Maybe at half it was 30-14. The under maybe changed to 65. I would have bet that under because I already know the full game going in. And so if I know they ebb and flow all the time. But if one team jumps on the other, you tend to the other team comes back, especially in the NFL. So I've already posted 2 locks, 4 teams. And after looking at the pros, there'll be a few more locks going up. So you want to get in on the totals, you want to get in. On the college, you want to buy it already because the college locks, I don't want the lines. The lines will move. And I don't want the Jacksonville 53 where it's a winner down to 50 and it's a push. If you would have bought the lock on Tuesday and bet it Tuesday, you'd have had a winner instead of a push. So that's the only thing that I think is that. So be careful of that. But it tends to go more like Buffalo. I think will go down to 12. I don't see it going I don't understand the 14, and I don't see it going much. They are not that good of a team. I would rather lay 14 with a Kansas City or Tampa before I lay 14 with Buffalo. It's got to be a good offense, and I do not. Josh Allen's overrated, so I don't see that. All right. Any other questions, comments? Da, 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 da. Okay, so today's Tuesday. There is the Wednesday game in college. The SMU UCF game was on the board last week, and it stayed UCF 3.5, 64, 65. I had the over with Cincinnati over on Thursday. Cincinnati wins. They don't play the game because of the hurricane. The game's rescheduled for Wednesday. I don't know if the bet might still be live then. So if you did that teaser with Cincinnati over, which you won, and then you had it with SMU like I did, then it's still live. They just moved the game back. So keep that in mind. That's a makeup from Saturday's hurricane game. Central Florida, I don't know. It didn't really affect Tampa Bay apparently. So keep that in mind. And then it goes to the Friday games. There's a few Friday games. And then the rest on Saturday. So we will find our Saturday games. Seems like lately we can find 10 without even blinking an eye. But again, you have to learn the teams. That's what I do. I've kind of stumbled on that and realized that that's a very potent. The upsets happen with the good defenses that you have to understand. You don't want to fuck with good defenses. You want to play against bad defenses. That's what you're looking for. Or you want to bet against weak offenses, like Carolina being favored against Arizona. Carolina doesn't have a good offense. How are they favored? So I get 7.5, 8 points with an Arizona team. I'm all over it. Good offense, weak offense being favored. So you're looking for things like that. And my A versus A teams, Oklahoma State, Baylor, game's even. Somebody's favorite means I'm going to take the dog, and it's a no-brainer. But you have to know they're both A teams. And how do you know that? That's what I know. But you don't know that. You can't look at a team. North Texas, what is it? You don't know. I know, but you don't know. And then you don't know how to bet them because you don't know what team they are. They're an over team, but you don't know that. That's the point. You've got to understand what I look for. And I look for very unique things. And I watch. When I'm watching a game, I'm watching the defense. I'm saying this defense sucks. I'm going to bet against it when I get a good quarterback. That's what I'm looking at. So I get confused, like with LSU. I don't know what they are right now. So if I don't know what they are, I can't bet them. But I know what Kansas is, and I know what Oak State is, and I know what Baylor is, and I know what USC is. So that's what I'm looking for. Again, keep in mind Oklahoma. I believe their quarterback is out, Gabriel from UCF. So if you're betting Oklahoma, Texas, Texas is a 7-point favorite. You can't bet it over, which it's always an over. But again, they moved on to USC. So this Oklahoma team's more of an under team, I think. And Texas is just running the ball because their quarterback got hurt. So I think it's an under, but we'll see what the over-under is. Actually, let me see. It's 65. Really? You got Oklahoma, Texas at 65. I don't think I have to say two more words. You got what? I just told you the quarterback's out and Texas runs the ball. And Oklahoma is now using the Clemson defensive coach as their head coach. So I guess they're playing defense. And Gabriel's out. 65. Oh my God. I might lock that under. That's absolutely unbelievable. 65 with the quarterback out in Texas running the ball with their good runner. Oh my God. That's insane. Okay. Anyway, that's how you find games. Your quarterback's out, so it's going to be an under. The coach is going to call more running plays. The backup's going to do it now. It depends who the backup is. If it's Van Dyke or Rising, then it's a little different. But that's where you get caught is the backup comes in, and then he starts throwing, touchdowns. You're like, well, wait, that's not the normal quarterback. North Carolina, Miami. I don't know what to do with that. That's lock over 65, but I don't know what they've done to Van Dyke in the offense. He's got 4 touchdowns and 3 picks. He'd do that in a game. He'd have four. You'd have 4 every game last year. So I don't know what they're doing. I can't bet this game over until Van Dyke starts throwing. But where is he? So I'm very skeptical on taking this game over. It should be normally with North Carolina. They'll put up a lot of points. But I don't know what's going on with Miami. Anyway, so 4 locks already up because we want to get them in early. The lines move. So when people say, well, where do you find that line? Well, I've already bet it. And the line, it's there. So I bet it, but it moves. So the earlier you buy, the better line you sometimes get. Not always, but most of the time, you get the better line. Anyway, www.teaserking.com. I hope everybody's well and has a good day. Buy your freaking gold and silver. It is so ready to explode. All these currencies are being screwed over and going to zero on purpose. As the real professor would say, money heist, it's all part of the plan. They want to blow up everything, and they're doing it. So buy your gold and silver. Please, I'm begging you. You do not want to be in U.S. dollars. Now, you have time. You have time to be in U.S. dollars, but not as much time as you think. And then if you don't buy gold and silver soon, it's not going to be there at this price. So, you got a little bit of time, but when it goes, it's going to explode, and you'll just be happy that you have it. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a lock. It can't go down. Don't look at the COMEX price. Look at the physical price. So that's what everybody sees, the COMEX price, which is not real. It's paper, not physical, and it's not the true price of physical gold. So go buy your gold coins that you hold in your hand, and then that's physical, and that price will be through the roof. All right, everybody, have a great day. Thank you. I'll see you on Thursday. Bye.